Hey guys, Wayback Rewind here. In 2010, JVC introduced a series of tapeless HD camcorders with no hard drive. Some had built-in memory and a single card slot, some had no memory and 2 card slots, and they could all record in full HD 1920 by 1080, well kind of. Today I'm going to bring you the story of JVC's HD SDHC camcorders. Coming up next, here on Wayback Rewind. So I bought the JVC GZ-HM300 camcorder as an early example of a tapeless camcorder that only records the SD card, but its limitations quickly became apparent to me, and it was a little disappointing. And it all begins with the sensor. It's a 1.37 megapixel sensor, which is not even large enough to do 1440 by 1080, so it interpolates up to 1920 by 1080. Contemporary reviews at the time said this camera had the worst reproduction of any HD camera tested. And so apparently JVC tried to jump on the HD bandwagon from 2010 and rush this to market, and it's an early model entry-level camera which does not really have good picture quality. But that being said, it has a 20x zoom lens and a dual SD card slot. And this is something unique because SD cards were only 8 gigabytes at the time that this came out. They solved the small card size by having 2 slots. And I have probably over 100 cameras, and this is my only camera with 2 SD card slots. So this is a rather unique function. And at the time, they had a camera with built-in memory, and they had one with 2 card slots. And the one with built-in memory only had 1 card slot, which was considered a more premium camera at the time. But now that 32 gigabyte SDHC cards exist, the one with 2 slots is actually better now. And even though that was the early entry-level model, that is the one I preferred to use here in the modern times. So the screen is not a touch screen. There are 5 buttons underneath the bezel, and the bezel is touch sensitive, which is kind of strange. The far right button is always the menu, and the far left button is always the select. The 3 in the middle are context sensitive. Depending on what the screen is showing, that's what those buttons do. And the slider along the side is also context sensitive. Depending on what the screen is showing, that's what those buttons do. I don't know why they have a touch sensitive bezel and not a touch screen, but that's how JVC implemented it. And it's not really all that slick, and it would have been better to have a touch screen. So the good news is I bought 2 of these cameras and both of them worked. They both came with batteries, and the batteries held a charge just fine. Now, even by 2010 standards, they didn't have all that great video, but if you're looking for an HD camera relatively cheaply, this is a good way to go. I only paid $45 for this camera shipped on eBay, and for a full HD camera, even though it's interpolated up, it shoots relatively decent quality. It even has a still camera built in. The stills are limited to 1920 by 1080, which are themselves interpolated up, but they're fairly decent. So now we'll take this camera out and show you exactly what the footage looks like.